matchup you can't win, this is a good tournament for being okay with that because chances are you won't even play it.
Andrew Calderon on your right. He's playing Scape Shift. He's 11-0. We've got Steven Chisolm on your left playing Kiki Pod 10-0-1.
Oh, it looks like the rumors of there being only two undefeateds have been sadly mistaken.
It looks like there are 3, and Calderon is playing Scape Shift. Now, again, this is another deck. I can say both of these decks. Again, 2 decks that coming into this tournament, you're a little bit surprised to see doing so well because we don't really think of these 2 decks as the big hitters in Modern.
And I assume, Steven, that there's a typo on the screen. I think Steven is actually 10-0-1, as it is very unlikely that he is as far from the future as his record would indicate.
Or as you are.
But we are in game 3 here of Kiki Pod versus Scape Shift. This matchup has historically been relatively close. Do either player have anything unusual that takes things in a different direction? I mean, we've seen a lot of Melira Pod all weekend, but Kiki Pod has a few different cards.
No, Chisolm's deck is, much more Birthing Pod centric, as we do know. When his Birthing Pods are better than Melira Pod's Birthing Pods. Now, as far as like a sideboard card that's good in this matchup, he does have a card like Sowing Salt in his deck, 2 copies in the sideboard. He has a card like Aven Mind Sensor. He's got copies of Swan Song, copy of Negate. So he's got some ways to interact against Scape Shift. The Scape Shift deck, however, it can deal with all of those cards and still be able to go off.
Seems like the defining feature of this game so far has been that Steven is stuck on just 2 land while Andrew is all the way at 8. But Andrew also flooded. He has 8 land in play and has several more land in his hand. We have the classic mana, being light on mana versus heavy on mana, and historically the guy light on mana has won that.
Yep. Now also keep in mind too with the Scape Shift deck here from Andrew, he's got 3 mountains in play right now. Now, the Scape Shift deck has a set amount of mountains to work with Valid Goodness. It looks like he's going to cast Cryptic Command on this Phantasmal Image, countering and drawing a card. So he needs to make sure that he still has enough mountains to go off when he eventually does draw Scape Shift.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's funny, at any point, if he draws Scape Shift, he'll win on the spot. But he's only got a couple turns. I mean, he's got 2 turns if nothing changes.
He's organizing mana. This gets a little bit scary. Looks like he has an Electrolyze in his hand. Now, he is at 8 life, so as you mentioned, he is actually pretty low. This is the Volcanic Fallout.
Oh, this is going to be big. See, Volcanic Fallout, killing the Voice of Resurgence, also kills the Elemental, but there will be another Elemental token. Electrolyze now will be able to kill the Spellskite if he so desires.
As long as he doesn't forget the trigger for that Elemental token.
And it looks like he did.
It looked like he did forget the trigger.
Interesting. Maybe he assumed that the triggered token was going to die to the Fallout.
Yeah.
But he just forgot to get it, I guess. So now we're looking at, well, he does have a 3rd land finally, but we're looking at an empty board. His attack has been completely blunted. He does have a lot of spells in hand, though, so he's going to be able to start making some forward progress. Andrew's life at a precarious 8, but if he ever finds Escape Shift, this game is over.
This is the Deceiver Exarch on the end step from Steven. He's going to target the Flooded Grove. He's going to keep taking his turn. Looks like he drew another copy of Deceiver Exarch. You oftentimes only see 1 of those in the deck list, but he has 2.
I think Deceiver Exarch is in the running for most damage dealt by a 1-power creature.
I have to think about that for a little while. Actually, I can't imagine you're wrong. I have to think about that.
He's dealt billions in damage per turn. Deceiver Exarch does a lot of damage.
Bastion Rootwalla he's had his day.
Billions. I'm saying, when you make a billion fairies.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. Bastion Rootwalla, buddy. Give me a fairy token from Bitter Blossom. There is a copy of Valakut. Going to pass the turn back. Here's another copy of Deceiver Exarch. So that's going to tap down that Flooded Grove yet again. And he's working his way through, but, this kind of comes back. Imagine if he had that Voice of Resurgence token. We're looking at a much faster clock here, but can't dwell on that now. He's still got to push through and try to win this one.
These are some mediocre beats.
Whatever it takes, my friend.
That's what I love about Modern. You end up, everybody's doing these unfair things, but they bash into each other so hard, you end up having to do some really janky backup plans, Modern is just all backup plans and sideboard hate. That's the format.
Grove of the Burned Willows comes down. This is a copy of Kitchen Finks.
Sure.
That's going to put Steven up to 17, excuse me. Is it Scape Shift time? Plays a Forest. That's a Windmill Slam Scape Shift right there.
He is excited.
I would be excited too. This is a Swan Song. That is a Cryptic. He shows him
He
a
didn't-
cryptic and another scape shift.
He did not float any mana.
So yeah, he counters the
'cause
first
he
one.
has another
He's going
scape
to cast
shift.
the other one, sure.
As long as he doesn't accidentally pick up his Valakut.
Yeah, slow down. Slow down. You have it, just don't mess it up. That's all. He's going to sacrifice some lands here. 1, 2, 3. There's
A Valakut and 4 mountains for a total of 24 damage.
Because each one of those lands is going to deal 6, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yep, so that's going to deal 6, 6. Yeah, because there's 2 Valakuts in play. There's a bunch of mountains, obviously, and that is going to do it. So Andrew Calderon, with a scape shift and a little bit of excitement, moves on to 12-0. That means, assuming that he is the other exit, that means we're going to have a matchup between him and